Raise the price, raise the price, raise the price. Are you tired of winning? Because remember when they told us that if you can't afford a Switch 2, just buy a Switch 1. Just buy a Nintendo Switch 1, they said. Imagine doing a price increase on prehistoric hardware. I mean, wow, Nintendo, you're just so busy swimming in money like Scrooge McDuck to care what's happening outside your money vault. Believe it or not, kids, game consoles used to get discounted when the next console came out. Yeah, we're definitely living in unprecedented times. The gaming industry needs a very hard reset at this point. Everything needs to crash in spectacular fashion. What isn't crashing though is our subscriber count. We've got a great episode for you today. But before we get into that, ladies and gents, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. You know, I really thought that we could hit 80,000 by the end of the year, but we already did that, so let's hit 90 by the end of the year. Because nothing makes these corpos seethe more than knowing you support someone like me. Now, I don't know whether you've noticed, but having fun nowadays is a luxury that we can't afford. For example, Nintendo for some reason sells a console demo for $10. What am I supposed to do? Say nothing? What am I, one of these Nintendo fanboy content creators? Oh no, hell no, I'm not one of those freaks. Or how about, let's see here, the base Mario Kart World is being sold for $80 even though it's a glorified DLC. Or how about them selling empty game card cases at a premium, and still every single one of their fanboy dents is too busy not paying attention to their wife's boyfriend slamming their wives. But instead they're trying to justify them increasing the cost of an 8-year-old tablet. I mean, what are we doing here? Imagine being one of these people who are waiting for the Switch 1 price to drop after the Switch 2 is released, and then you see something like this happen. Oh, I would be so hot. I mean, a $50 increase for a console that came out in 2017 is ridiculous. We're gonna get to the quote tariffs excuse in a second, but Nintendo is so out of touch. It isn't even funny anymore. I mean, long gone are the days where you waited a whole generation to get a console. You were rewarded for that. Now you have to fork out some more money. Nintendo basically not only killed off the right of ownership by bricking your console for literally no reason sometimes, and now they're killing your kids' college fund. It is just never enough, and I know what you're thinking, Mannix. Nintendo upping their greed, it's typical. It's just another Tuesday. Well, I don't think so. This might be slightly more insidious than the other times. Why? Well, the absolute insanity that Nintendo is charging a disgusting $340 for the original 2017 Switch using old as hardware. We all know that must be cheap as dirt to produce now, but they're still gonna continue ripping people off for as long as they possibly can and for as long as they can get away with it. I guess all the Americans are dunces for falling for this. By the way, so much for Doug Bowser's previous statement. We recognize that there are some people who may not be able to afford the Switch 2's price point. Well, there's a Switch for you already. Cut to not even 6 months later, and oops, did we raise the price of the original Switch? Well, we decided to make a 7-year-old console more expensive. I tell people this all the time. You know what's more important than the Switch 1 and the Switch 2 is your savings account. Prioritize what matters and never panic buy, especially when it comes to Nintendo. I'm sitting there thinking, am I the only one who keeps my wallets closed when this stuff happens? If you kept your wallets closed, absolutely none of this would be happening, because as the prices go up, my interest in the products always go down. But Maddox, what about the tariffs? What about the orange man? Screams the low-T Nintendo fanboy. The very scary orange man in the White House. Well, listen to me. The Nintendo Switch, this system has been out for 7 years and never received a price drop. We have these mentally stunted morons blaming the tariffs while ignoring Nintendo having manufactured the Switch for 7 years and has refined the process without a single price drop during the entire generation. But we're supposed to believe, oh my god, would you look at that, the tariffs, we just had to raise the price. Nintendo had plenty of room to decrease the price, or at the very least not increase the price. You can't blame the tariffs because it's literally the only console to never get a price cut in its lifespan. That is the definition of greed. But Nintendo sycophants are pretending it's because of Trumpistein, because the tariffs excuse works well well in their favor. They can con the morons because they can push the prices of the Switch 1 and 2 closer together to encourage more people to get into the new system instead. So now they have a perfect excuse so the Nintendo lemmings can parrot it out in defense of what is in this case simply greed. Otherwise, if they just said that they increased the price, it would be a PR disaster. So now they're showing you that regardless of what they planned, they are going to raise the prices no matter what. Nintendo is raising the prices on just about everything, including the original Switch. In the wake of announcing that the Switch has hit a new sales milestone, Nintendo says that the price of the Switch and many of its accessories will now change in the United States based on, quote, market conditions. You know, every time I'm even mildly inconvenienced, I'm just gonna blame the market conditions. The next time my girlfriend gets upset at me for not taking the garbage out, I can just tell her, well, the market conditions told me to not do it. Just blame the orange man in the White House. Oh, I didn't wipe my ass properly after taking a oh, just blame the market conditions. I tell you what, the market conditions has become the preferred excuse of multiple companies nowadays. If only us as gamers can turn around in response to that and just say, due to the market conditions, my wallet is never turning inside out. They would not blame the market conditions anymore. They would drop those prices. Because if people aren't happy with the prices, they will stop buying. And if enough people stop buying, I sound like a broken record, I know, the prices will drop. Sadly, people have no self-control. They just have to buy the new Nintendo product. It's like some weird FOMO. Now, what do we have here? Nintendo's not saying what exactly those price changes are, but they're going into effect on August 3rd. This is on top of the previous price increase in price for the Switch 2 accessories announced earlier this year. Well, isn't that grand? You can expect pricing adjustments for the Switch accessories such as controllers and amiibo. The list includes every console in the Switch family, OLED model, the Nintendo Switch, the Nintendo Switch Lite, and its accessories. Sorry to anyone who's holding out on buying Nintendo's Alarmo clock. At least one US retailer may have outed those price changes early, however. On Friday, Target temporarily adjusted pricing on all Nintendo Switch models, revealing the impending hikes on MSRP as follows. The Switch is up from $339, up from $299, Switch Lite $229, up from $199, and the Switch OLED edition $399, up from $349. This is Nintendo. Is this Nintendo admitting that the Switch 2 isn't doing so hot? I don't think so, because we know that the Switch 2 is selling like crazy. So why are they so desperate for you to stop buying the old tablet to focus on the new one? I know we already answered that, but look, if Nintendo is so desperate for cash, they might as well just port Mario and Zelda and Pokemon to PlayStation and PC instead of milking the consumers dry. Because it almost seems like Nintendo isn't trying to beat the PS2 as the best-selling console of all time. So we already answer the question why they're doing this. They're doing this to make the Switch 2 console and the overall game prices not seem so bad. Oh, the Switch 1 is like $340 now. We might as well just buy the Switch 2. Target's pricing also indicated a $5 bump to the Joy-Con 2 controllers to $99 and a $10 increase to the Alarmo to $109. You know what's funny is that Nintendo's Pro controller is somehow getting more expensive, which is hilarious and insane to me. The silly little things are already overpriced to begin with. I mean, I don't even recognize Nintendo anymore. This was the company that invented the D-pad, which could be considered as the best D-pad in the history of gaming. And now they're just making controllers that's missing features that the other competitors already have. But you know, I saw all of this coming. However, I didn't see the $100+ Joy-Cons. I wasn't ready for that. I mean, that is just an outright scam. I mean, how embarrassing. But you know what? It's just Nintendo doing Nintendo things. I can't in good conscience ever support a company that repeatedly makes such dumb decisions like this. But I know the hardcore fans will still find a way to defend Nintendo. It's crazy times to see older systems going up rather than down. I mean, how did we get to this point? Nintendo had 7 years to drop the Switch 1 prices, but they didn't. That should be a major outrage everywhere else. And on that bombshell, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll be paying very close attention. Manix out.